Manager for the Secretariat of the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, and she's based in Montreal, Canada, and leading their portfolios on forest conservation, restoration, and sustainable use. And it all happens in the framework of the Strategic Plan for Biodiversity and its IG biodiversity targets. Since October this year, Catalina was also appointed the Special Advisor to the Executive Secretary of the CBD, and she brings close to 2 decades of experience in forest policy issues and capacity development at the international and regional levels. As the last point, Catalina is currently also the Vice Chair of the Global Partnership on Forest and Landscape Restoration. I hope that went fine, Catalina. If you have anything to add, please feel free to chip in there. Okay?
Thank you, Maria. And good morning and good afternoon to all the 88 participants joining us from all the corners of the world. I see a very large number and very pleased to see this interest. On behalf of the Secretariat of the Convention on Biological Diversity and the Global Partnership on Forest Landscape Restoration, I am very pleased to provide opening remarks on the topic before us, forest landscape restoration monitoring. Let me start by thanking FAO for organizing this online knowledge sharing forum and putting in front of us a key question: why, who, and how to utilize technology to map and monitor forest landscape restoration opportunities and interventions. First, let me provide a bit of context. Forests are essential to life on Earth and are among the world's most productive terrestrial ecosystems. And with 1/4 of the global population depending directly upon forests for their livelihood, forests and their resources face continued threats globally, impacted by different factors. Impacts to forest landscapes and soils in turn negatively affect the provision of ecosystem services. In this context, the Global Partnership on Forest Landscape Restoration defined forest landscape restoration as a process to regain ecological functionality and enhance human well-being across deforested and degraded landscapes. Several studies have been calculating the number of hectares of deforested and degraded landscapes worldwide, where opportunities for forest landscape restoration may be found. Some studies reveal that nearly 40% of all degraded lands are lightly degraded, with strong potential for restoration at low cost. This has drawn interest among many, and over the past decade, commitments and support for forest landscape restoration has grown. For example, the Bond Challenge, a global initiative to bring 150 million hectares into restoration by 2020 and 350 million by 2030, has and continues to generate awareness on forest landscape restoration. In the last 3 years, this initiative has been complemented by several regional initiatives in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Support for restoration is further recognized in international policy, including in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals, which build on global goals under many of the Rio Conventions. In particular, the Global Biodiversity Target number 15 calls for restoration of 15% of degraded ecosystems worldwide by 2020. So why is monitoring needed? First of all, in my view, monitoring plays a fundamental role in providing information to help guide informed decision-making, while also assessing trends and developments, attracting investments, and ensuring accountability. Overall, let me point out a few additional reasons why monitoring is critical. First, monitoring can help leverage the buy-in and support to raise and prioritize restoration interventions within national and subnational development strategies as a complement to avoided deforestation. It can provide an evidence base for public and private investment to support different forest landscape restoration objectives. The data from monitoring efforts can support cross-country and interregional exchanges of expertise and perspectives. And monitoring can also build technical skills and capacities to scale up efforts and maximize impacts, aligning different national restoration-related priorities. In addition, I believe that monitoring can help engage balanced gender responses, communicating results and providing feedback for adaptive management and learning. So this brings me to my last point, who and how. And I'm happy to report and to mention that joining us, we'll be hearing different experiences from practitioners on how they have been leveraging innovative technologies to enhance information systems, democratize data collection, and provide the public with greater access to information. At the global level, a coalition of technical partners have come together since 2016 under the Collaborative Roadmap for Forest Landscape Restoration Monitoring to support countries in different forest landscape restoration activities. This support extends to capacity development and cross-sectoral coordination to consolidate tools and guidance, map, plan, and prioritize actions, and all work through an online community of practice. In this regard, this platform draws on the knowledge and the experience of many organizations partnering in this roadmap. And I'm happy to see that several of the partners are joined in today. For example, WRI has been a very strong participant in this endeavor and has been collaborating every step of the way. As we initiate this discussion, we should reflect on the use of cutting-edge technology for monitoring forest landscape restoration, how this can contribute to public policies and their impacts, and what risks and benefits this implies versus business as usual. So I thank you all for joining, and I thank FAO in particular for inviting the CBD and the Global Partnership on Forest Landscape Restoration to open this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Catalina.